My name is Bogavitch and I represent the Children's Toy Fund. My cousin Colin developed terminal lung cancer at the age of 4 in 1992. I remember watching a small child full of all the hopes and dreams this life has to offer have it all slowly fall apart. His young body, once full of life, started to lose weight and wither away. The chemotherapy took his straight brown hair and sapped him of all his youthful vigor. Each day the treatment made it harder and harder for Colin to get out of bed. Instead of Colin's days being filled with playful energy and the hope of young life, it was replaced with vomiting, nausea, and extreme amounts of pain. As it became more difficult for Colin to travel and for his mother Kim to take care of him at home, she moved him to a child care unit of a hospital. These units are filled with kids who have chronic illnesses they may or may not ever recover from. These units are staffed with great people doing their best to make these kids feel some semblance of comfort. However, they lacked many of the items needed to help brighten their days. The toys were worn out, the coloring books had all been filled in. These kids had seen the worst this life has to offer, but they are just kids. They still crave the same type of stimulation as any other child, even if it dulls the pain only for a few precious moments. My mother Kathy and Colin's mother Kim started going door to door to collect money to buy toys, coloring books, video games, movies, and anything else that would help brighten these kids' lives. This is how the Children's Toy Fund first started. Colin passed away in 1993 at just the age of 5. While he didn't get much time to enjoy everything this life has to offer, I would like to think that his time here and the life of every child in a similar situation has been a little bit bettered by the work we did from our small beginnings up until today. My mother Kathy ran the Children's Toy Fund from that beginning to our first bingo session in 1997 and grew until her death in September of 2010. Now our children, my sister Ashley and myself, have kept that mission alive. This is our story. This is one of the countless stories about the many charities that exist in our state. Whether lighthearted or heavy-handed, every charity has a story of how its mission began. These stories are becoming an endangered species. I've been involved in charitable gaming since I was a child, from helping mow the grass at our location when I could drive, to volunteering to work bingo when I was 18, and now taking over the reins when my mother passed away. In the last few years, more charities than I can count have vanished. Their stories, their missions, evaporated as the landscape of charitable gaming became more difficult. This process is accelerating to the point I fear within the next decade there won't be much left to represent charitable gaming. Bingo regulation hasn't changed much over the last 30 years. Most were designed when the only places to gamble were Las Vegas, Atlantic City, or reservations. In this time, as everyone is well aware, the landscape of gambling in Ohio has changed dramatically. From Mountaineer in West Virginia, it has expanded to every state that borders Ohio, eventually leading to the state of Ohio opening casinos and racinos in May of 2010. With an expanding Ohio lottery and in some areas unregulated skill gaming parlors, charitable gaming is finding it harder and harder to keep its head above water. Everyone knows the story of how gambling has changed in Ohio, but nobody sees the only thing that hasn't changed is charitable gaming. It's just bingo after all. It's what grandmas do after they retire. Bingo will be around forever is the thought. Charities are the quietest voice at the table, and we are still hampered by decades-old regulations that do not allow for us to compete in this new landscape. We have very strict laws of when, what, and how we are allowed to operate. The best example of how completely unrealistic and hampered we are in charitable gaming is our inability to pay a fair wage to anybody who decides to help at bingo. We are not allowed in any way to compensate a bingo worker's time and must completely rely on volunteers. With multi-million-dollar casinos employing a gigantic staff of trained professionals that operate our gaming establishments in Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, and here in Columbus, how can a few volunteers ever possibly keep up? I could stand up here and rattle off very sobering statistics of how charitable gaming's gross receipts have fallen off in the last 10 years. I can recount statistics of how gaming license applications have plummeted in the last 10 years. There are so many issues that affect charitable gaming and how hampered we are. I could go on for hours touching on each and every one. But one fact remains true. In the current gaming environment in Ohio, the Children's Toy Fund and countless other charities are in danger of becoming a faded memory. What we are here today asking is that we make smart changes in how we are allowed to operate and generate revenue. We are here today to give charitable gaming the chance to keep their stories, their missions alive for years to come. Thank you.